Cornelius Anderson was recently arrested because he was sentenced to serve 13 years in prison more than a decade ago. However, he never reported to serve his sentence. The reason why is because no one told him where to report or when to report. Now, let's back up to 2000 when he was convicted of armed robbery. It turns out that he and some friends went into I believe it was a convenience store, and they attempted to rob, the assistant manager at a Burger King in the area. This is in 1999. So they had a BB gun, but that person that they were trying to rob had no idea. So as a result, they got caught, they got convicted of armed robbery, and he got sentenced specifically to 13 years. They never told him where to report, so he never reported to prison.
So I didn't know that because I've never been in a situation like that. But apparently you go home and they're like, okay, we're going to send you a letter and tell you where to report.
Yeah.
Except literally it was, in this case, a clerical error. So he waited the first day, he waited the second day. He's like, all right, I'm not going to report if they don't tell me where to report. He wouldn't even know where to go, right?
Exactly.
And then he waited a year and 2 years. And he went on with his life.
So some people might argue, hey, you know what? He was probably trying to hide from the authorities. He probably changed his identity. But no, he didn't do any of that. So in the time that he got convicted, up until now, here's what he did. He got married. He raised 3 kids. He learned a trade. He was making no effort to conceal his identity or whereabouts. He was paying taxes and traffic tickets. He renewed his driver's license. He registered his 3 businesses. And keep in mind, he got stopped by the police a few times because of some traffic violations, and nothing would come up because there was this huge clerical error. So in this period of time, he was a model citizen. He did nothing wrong. He employed people. He was great. And the big argument is, well, we put people away to prison for rehabilitation. Now, we all know that that's not true. Oftentimes they go in there and then they come out as hardened criminals. But nonetheless, he got caught, and the Missouri Department of Corrections discovered the clerical error fairly recently. So they decided to send a SWAT team to his home as he was feeding his children. So they go in there with assault rifles, they arrest him, and now he's sitting in jail, and he's hoping that some way, somehow, they'll let him go.
So this is not as easy a question as I think it might appear. I mean, look, he did do the crime, and we know now that it was a BB gun, but at the time, the people, I'm sure, at Burger King were incredibly afraid, and they thought it was a real gun, and he did an armed robbery, right? And so in America, we have heavy sentences. 13 years for armed robbery is probably around average. I don't think anybody would have argued at the time that he shouldn't serve after he got convicted, right? Now, you might argue he should have gotten less for that since it wasn't a real gun, but that's a different question, right? So now that if you get to live a model life, do you then get to say, well, all is forgiven? Now let's change the equation. Armed robbery is very serious.
It is.
Okay, now what if it was rape, right?
Right.
What if it was murder? And then would you say, well, he's a model citizen, we rehabilitated him, so let's just let that rape go or that murder go?
Yeah.
It's not as clear, right?
Armed robbery is a violent crime. It's not some nonviolent drug offense or, some petty misdemeanor. This is a violent crime. He did get convicted. And you're absolutely right. It's a really difficult story to rule on because on one hand, he is a model citizen. He's doing everything right, but our justice system does have that element of punishment, and to know that he did something that is considered a violent crime and was never punished for it makes me a little uneasy.
All right, so we're going to have a serious TYT Supreme Court on this, so let's go ahead and drop it. So I'm really torn on this one. Look, appears to be a really good guy, and obviously one of the reasons we lock people up is so they don't continue to do more crime, but he clearly didn't do more crime, so apparently that wasn't an issue. Obviously, Anna talked about rehabilitation. He appears rehabilitated from day one, realized what a stupid mistake that was, and didn't have a record before. So, I want to let him go, but the BB gun is what's making it, I guess, a little easier on us because you get the sense that they were being stupid as opposed to thinking that they might actually shoot and kill people. Right? But otherwise, if it was a more heinous crime, I don't know. You
I
say
have
times.
a solution. I have a solution to this.
Oh, Justice Kasparian, please.
Okay, so first of all, you have to take into account that there was incompetence here on the side of the Department of Corrections, right?
Good
it was
point.
their clerical error, and as a result, I feel like they should be punished by it in some way. Now, he was convicted of a crime, so he should be punished in some way as well. I believe that our prison system should be used for rehabilitation, and maybe a little element of punishment, but the primary reason for it should be rehabilitation. Since he is rehabilitated, I don't think he should go back to prison. However, he does deserve some sort of punishment for what he did. And I think that the punishment should be a hefty fine.
I like where you're going with that. I want to amend it a little bit, okay? So, and you should know one other fact. They're saying, hey, look, you can do time served. That's what his lawyers are arguing. But he didn't serve the time, so it's unlikely to work. But the only precedent is back in 1912 in Missouri. There was a similar case. The clerical errors back then were a little bit more understandable, right? But they set the guy free. And they said, okay, it was our bad. Like Anna said, it was their fault in the first place, so they let the convicted man go. My suggestion is 13 years probation going forward.
And no fine?
I don't really care about the
13 years
fine.
of probation seems excessive, though. Like,
I mean, I know what you're saying, but look, he got out. He didn't serve any of the 13 years he was supposed to serve. And then, if our argument is that he's rehabilitated, great. Then he won't do anything wrong in the next 13 years.
That's true. All right, fine. I would take the probation.
Chief Justice, will you agree with me?
13 years seems too much for it not being his fault. You know what I mean? It's just, come on, dude. Like, it wasn't like, it'd be great if the city could just be like, all right, we fucked up. Good luck.
But he still committed that crime,
That'd be great,
though.
but like 13 years is too much. Like 3 years.
I know.
max.
You know what? The thing is, I keep thinking, what if he raped? But he didn't rape anyone. He didn't murder anyone, and it was a BB gun. So, and this is the case in front of us. So let me reserve my final judgment until I hear from visiting Justice Bart, who's filling in for JR.
BB gun, I'd say 6 years probation.
You know what? The visiting justice, quite just indeed. That's what I was going to do. Because of Jesus's points, I was going to knock it down to half of the time. 6 years probation. Our decision is final. Are we not merciful?